good.
Let's get
and
his
now
mic on.
you've admitted that you like Taco Bell. You're one of us.
Hey, I've been one of us before you were one of us. Taco Bell, come on. I grew up in Southern California. Love Taco Bell.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
All right, what do you get at Taco Bell? I need to know.
Well,
I'll tell you,
I can't tell anybody when I have Taco Bell anymore. We have a famous drop. I used to go to the gym. I still do every now and then. But when I was going every single day, and on 6th and Gary, there's a Taco Bell KFC. And the bus would let you off right in front of the Taco Bell. And I was like, look, I'm not going to go. And there's a drop saying, Taco Bell, so damn good. I mean, the gordita crunch wrap.
I'm a Taco
nachos.
Supreme. I get the 3 Taco Supremes, the hard shells, and then I get like a bean burrito.
Oh, my God. That's an interesting choice.
I know.
I am cheesy gordita crunch.
Yes,
Really?
Cheesy gordita crunch and a regular old school, from the beginning, beef taco.
Oh, nice.
The double-decker taco was underrated. And I used to really, really like that. But, my girl would say, hey, did you go to Taco Bell? I was like, no. And she'd get in the car about 2 days later and see all the shredded cheese that comes out of the wrapper. It's like, wait, you were at Taco Bell. It's hard to lie to the significant other when you don't go to Taco Bell.
In my car, I'm sure you look down and it's all over the place.
It's all over the tomato chunks and everything like that.
I love it.
Oh, man.
Thanks for coming in today. Like, seriously, I'm so excited. There was a long off season for everybody, for everybody with the Warriors. And you guys made a lot of moves, but I want to go back to the end of it. What was your biggest takeaway from that Lakers series?
Oh, disappointment. I mean, terrible disappointment because several of our players just, had terrible playoffs. We weren't used to that.
Yeah.
They had bad playoffs, and I felt we were a better team. I really did. And I have high expectations for this year that we're going to pay that back.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Lonnie Walker, game 4. Can't get over that one.
Anthony Davis.
Game of his life. Anthony Davis. They sold game 1, of course, and the year ends, and there's a lot of question marks about what the team's going to look like the next year. You guys make a big, bold move, and we'll just start right there. Chris Paul, who a lot of us could not stand for a long, long time. And even at media day, I was like, wow, he's really in a Warriors uniform. And I like the fit. Once you start to think about the basketball aspect of it, I get what the vision was. But where were you at when that trade happened? Because I just took my daughter to swim class, and Shasky's blowing me up. I'm thinking, what happened at the station? Did we get fired finally?
I couldn't believe it.
It was Chris Paul's a Warrior. I'm like, what? My daughter's looking at me crazy. Where were you at when that trade happened? Were you in on it? Did you hear about it? What went down around that time?
We had been discussing it. Actually, it had been mentioned by Kent, my younger son.
Right. Not Kirk, who sprained his ankle at the tournament.
Yeah, not Kirk. No, it was Kent in this case who had mentioned it and prior to. And I just sort of, my first reaction to it was, huh? Just like you, like most people. But it sat with me for a week or two. We were discussing it. We had different options we were looking at. And then it really became a potential idea when he was traded to Washington. He wasn't going to stay there. And we just thought about it, and we just said, this kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So it at first, just like you, I was sort of questioning it. And I have a lot of co-owners, friends and whatever, to this day, they come up to me and say, really? Chris Paul? Yeah. They get upset. And the truth is, I think they're all going to be won over. Yeah. I was at a dinner on Monday night that we did for the team and a lot of our sponsors, and Chris was there. And he, first of all, I've known him on the outside of basketball because of the collective bargaining negotiations over the years. He's involved in that, and I was involved in that. He's really smart, and he's very personable off the court. So I knew that about him. But the thing is, I think what people didn't understand is how much of a team player, how much of a leader he is. He's going to come in. He's already, starting in August, the team has been working out, playing together. He has engendered a lot of that, helped a lot of that happen, along with Steph and others. I don't think this is my 14th year. I don't think that we have had a year where we've had the players all working out together, getting together, becoming one, all that kind of camaraderie. I don't think we've had a year like that prior to the start of training camp. That helps a lot. So I think Chris Paul is a great leader. I think he still has something left. I think he fits a lot better than people think.
A move like that is very bold. And that's one thing. You guys have always been bold, and I've respected that. Right. From a basketball standpoint, sports standpoint, business aspect. A lot of people are risk averse to make a swing that big, to get rid of a young guy, 23 years old, Jordan Poole, to bring in CP3. When you guys are weighing that, how do you get everybody on board? Do you have conversations with the players, or is it just, we're going to make this move and we need you to buy in? How does that work behind the scenes?
I listen to this show in the morning, and whatever you guys think is a good idea, we tend to do.
I've traded away a lot of people, unfortunately. I've had to apologize to a lot of players.
This guy's going to be post-game show. Hey, Draymond, man, great game. Earlier today on the show, I traded you 3 times.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's all.
It's tough.
No, look, these things, we talk to Steph, certainly. Yeah. We have some conversations sometimes with players. But, players aren't always the best people to judge these things, in all honesty. And we have to rely on Bob Myers and now, of course, Mike and our group to assess these things properly and to figure out how it might work. And they've done a good job over the years.
Yeah.
So it's a process. It's a bold move. Yeah. Well, we're not going to get anywhere by sitting still. We have to take chances. We have to do things like this. And I think this is a great move. I'm extremely excited about this team. And I know Steve, I can tell you as a coach, he's through the roof on it. He really likes this roster. I think we've got a very interesting roster. Admittedly, we have to stay healthy. We all get that.
Right. Of course.
We're getting a little older, no question. But if we do, and I think we can manage that, I think we have a chance to be a really good team.
Yeah, I agree with that. We'll get to Steve in a second here. What was that first conversation like with Chris Paul when the trade was official and you got to sit down with him and say, hey, welcome to the Golden State Warriors, welcome to the Bay Area? What was that like? What did he ask you? What did you ask him?
I don't remember that exactly, to be honest, Bonta. But I think he was surprised, shocked, if anything. And he's told the story several times about when it happened, and he was kind of stunned by it. But I think he was, it didn't take him long to sort of figure out that this is something, if he could help make work, makes a change. Look, he gets a chance to win a championship.
Yep.
And that's the one thing he hasn't done. Every team Chris Paul has ever been on, I think they average 10 games better when he's on.
Right.
So I expect to see something like that here this year as well. But he hasn't won a championship. And I think he knows that he has an opportunity here. Obviously he's getting older, dwindling years, there are opportunities to do that. He's got a chance to do that. And we need that one. We need that championship. We need it badly.
Yeah. I know you follow the Niners.
That. See, I know.
I love this. I know you follow the Niners, and I get annoyed by the quest for the next ring or quest for six. And I'm joking around saying it's the quest for Chris. quest for Chris to get a ring and to get their fifth. That's the hashtag. But no, all jokes aside, part of your financial brilliance is the ability to kind of pour assets and money back into the team, back into the organization, back into the facility. And that's why we love you, right? How much was this financially motivated in terms of flexibility moving forward in contending year after year?
Well, first of all, winning is the most important thing. That's actually, there's no point in doing this if we're not going to win. Okay. So
that's why we love
you. Are trying to win. That's number one.
Yeah.
And whatever we can do to make team better, that's what we're going to do. Now, there are some constraints, obviously. Although I don't know, I seem to bust through those constraints often. It's because at the end of the day, we decide, hey, it's worth doing, and it's proven to work.
Exactly.
We've been to the final 6 times in 13 years, and we've won 4 championships. Should have won 6. And the truth is, we're going to do if we think we have a chance to win a championship, we're going to do it. Okay, but financially, this deal happens to make a lot of sense as well because we get some optionality at the end of the year. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Klay. We can talk about that, or with Chris. He's getting older and so on. But as of right now, we have some optionality. We could decide at any point now, 2 weeks from now, somewhere in time during the season, we could decide what we're going to do with those guys. But that gives us optionality. And so that we didn't have that with Jordan, although I will admit it was hard to trade Jordan Poole.
For sure.
He's a hell of a player. Yep. He's a young player. I mean, it killed me to do that. But unfortunately, I don't like constraints. Nobody likes constraints. But we have constraints, and we had to figure out on a not only short term, but we have to take into account the intermediate and long term as well.
Also, Joe Lacob live in studio here on the Morning Ross on 95.7 The Game. Year 14 for Joe Lacob, owning the Golden State Warriors. All they've done is hang 4 banners, go to 6 NBA Finals, and they want another one. You just heard from Joe. He wants that 5th one badly because I know you want to one-up LeBron James, get into that Kobe.
I don't think people understand how important this is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because, look, these guys are getting a little older. We all get that. We got a window here. We've got to try to win another title. And I really badly want to see Steph and our guys, Klay and Draymond, get another one. LeBron's got 4.
Yep.
They got 4.
Yep.
Let's get 5. Let's seed him to 5.
Right,
Thank you.
One for the thumb. I like that.
I got to ask him because he brought it up already. You left Father's Day 2016 draft.
Oh, why you got to go back
there? No, Joe,
Oh.
Joe, this is why I love you, because you care like we do, the fans. I will never get over that. And I love how you said we should have won 6. That means a lot to us because a lot of people are like, yeah, we want to get there. And I get it. There's an accomplishment in the journey. To this day, I struggle going back to 2016. Father's Day, with the entire family there. I will never forget that loss. We were tied with 2 minutes to go. Should have won the game. And it just, I think the maniacal obsession with winning is why people think you're so great at running this team. And we appreciate it. It means a lot to us.
What a fan. If you're an owner of a team, the one thing you need to understand, you have to give your fans, who I am one of them as well,
yes,
hope.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay? We have to engender hope. Otherwise, there's no point. That's why we are all fans. That's why we're interested in supporting our team and being part of something bigger, because we are all together in this in the Bay Area. We're the Bay Area's basketball team. We're all together. We want to win as a group. We want this shared collective experience. So, yeah, it's really important. And I'm sorry, but, that's always going to be job one here, always, no matter what.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people push back on me. I say on these airways with the 49ers, there's 5-1 right now. And I said, look, I don't care about being the best team in the league right now. I want to be the best team in January. I want that Super Bowl. Super Bowl or bust. And it's not saying that the season's a disappointment, but that should be the mindset. That's the mindset that Eddie DeBartolo, I talked to you about this, Eddie DeBartolo set this in stone. It's championship or bust. We will not stop until we win a Lombardi. Well, you kind of have that same mantra. I remember you asked me, how many championships does Eddie have? And I think he knew the answer to it because you keep up with the stuff. You brought up Dr. Jerry Buss a long time ago, but we get there in a second. I want to talk about the offseason because one thing that got overshadowed with the CP3 deal was the Warriors bringing back Draymond Green. And as fans, we don't know, are they going to move on from Draymond? Are they not going to move off of Draymond? Look, last year was a rough season for a lot of people, including Draymond Green. Was there any thought in your mind that, boy, we may have to play next year without Draymond Green? Or were you ever concerned at all that he wouldn't be a member of the Golden State Warriors?
I was pretty convinced he'd be back, to be honest. But to sit here and I can't lie. I mean, there was a possibility he could have left, certainly. He had another opportunity that he's talked about. Possibly to move. But I think he wanted to be back and we wanted to be back. And, we had the resources to do it. It just had to make sense. And he came to my house. We had a long discussion about it, one-on-one. I was pretty convinced we're going to be able to get it done.
He looks like he's in great shape, too.
I mean,
talked to him at media day. The ankle seems to be progressing well.
I mean, there was so much up in the air after last year. Obviously, the incident that happened at the beginning of the year, Jordan Poole getting CP3, to have Draymond back is a big deal to fans. And I think it matters to have our guys stay with our team on team-friendly deals, or at least give them optionality to move forward. Does that matter to you at all, or is it all about winning? Or do you care about, having respect for the people that help put you guys in a position to win championships?
No, winning is number one. I mean, there probably will come a time when we may have to do something that, it's happened to every team. It's just it's history. Right. It's what happens because we're not always on the same page necessarily with the agents or the players, and we have to do what's good for the team. We have to. There's some of that for sure, but I will say it's really important to me to have the continuity. All right, to have the continuity and to have these guys retire as Warriors would be such an amazing thing to have happen. Steph, Klay, Draymond. The three most highly tenured players in the league, 1, 2, and 3, I believe right now. I'm very proud of that. And we should all be proud of that. And by the way, that's when I grew up, that was important to have. You knew that these guys were your guys. They were your team. They were always with the team. There wasn't free agency and all that stuff. Now the world's changed. We all understand that. And business realities do enter into it sometimes. But look, I would love more than anything to keep those three guys here through the entirety of their career. And we're going to try to do that.
How do you guys balance the conversations of players evolving as they start to age, mixing in some of the younger guys, changing the kind of style of play by adding in Chris Paul? I mean, obviously you pay Steve Kerr, to have those conversations, but organizationally, what are the conversations like behind the doors as you guys are talking about, easing in some of the younger players that you obviously are very high on, like Moody and Kuminga, and still maintaining the level of excellence in winning as the number one priority?
I mean, we talk about that. Look, there is no such thing as everybody's in their 30s and they've won an NBA championship. I don't know. We could have Raymond look this up. Has there ever been an NBA champion where every player on the team was in their 30s? I don't think so.
No.
That's extremely unlikely and probably impossible. There are teams in this league today. Look today. We're all sports fans, right? We look at these teams, all these other teams. If you're all this talent in the world, but you're all 20 to 25, they don't win championships either.
No.
I don't recall any, really.
No.
So there's a window, where they get the experience, and somewhere in the middle is sort of the high ground there where you're 25 to 30 is sort of the prime time, let's say, maybe longer now these days. But we have to have a mix of young developing players that we take shots on, they can become the next Klay Thompson, the next Draymond Green, the next Steph Curry. We have to have that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we also have to have the experience to win. So there's a blend. And by the way, Chris Paul said this to me the other day. He loves this makeup of this team because we have these great veteran leaders, experienced players who know how to play and how to win. And we also have some really good young players who, by the way, are going to be able to spell these guys.
Right.
And they can't play 82 games, some of them, okay, and be healthy.
Right.
It just doesn't happen that way. They need to be healthy for the playoffs. So we need the Kumingas and the Moody's and the two guys we drafted, Trace and Podzinski. We need these guys and Quinones, another good young player. We need these guys to develop, and we need them to contribute minutes and to keep us, like them winning games. These last preseason games were really important.
Yep.
I know you say, well, preseason doesn't matter. I think it does. Winning, every time you go on the court, you should try to win. I believe that. And they won those games. And you know who won those games at the end? Those young guys.
Yeah.
That's important.
No, that is.
Kuminga was good.
It's kind of a couple of years ago during the championship run when they had those big wins without the starters there. Damian Lee and, of course, Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga contributing. Remember that game in South Beach, Miami, when you guys were down, up, down, go back and win that basketball game. We have Joe Lacob, the owner of the Golden State Warriors, live in studio here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. Now, I remember you came to studio a few years ago and you talked about Klay Thompson. He was coming back from rehab. You said, Klay Thompson's not playing in another uniform. Now, you brought him up because he has a contract coming up here. Would you have felt better if you had got the deal done, the extension done before the season, or do you anticipate that being a distraction at all during the course of the season?
Well, I hope it's not a distraction. I mean, we're not in control of this. I mean, there's two sides to every negotiation. Mm-hmm. We want him back. He wants to be back. It's kind of like Draymond.
Right.
I think you guys, everyone needs to just chill a little bit. Let this take its course. My guess is it works out. Okay. I can't control it. I can't dictate it. You can't dictate it.
Right.
Fans can't dictate it. These things have to take their course. There's different parties involved, but the intentions are really good.
Well, the Draymond situation was different because he had an opt-in and he could opt out if he chose to.
True.
But do you look back at how that went and learn any lesson from that? Was it good, bad, indifferent? Was it just business? Like, did that have any tangible effect on the season last year, you think? Oh,
it might have, but I think there were some issues last year with respect to some of the contracts. Some of the other guys got contracts I know you're referring to. Maybe it did. I don't think there's going to be anything like that this year, though. Yeah. I really don't. Klay's a professional. Respect him tremendously. And we're going to do our best to get this done. And, hopefully it is done sooner rather than later, but it might not be.
How would you assess Klay's season from a year ago? Because we take a lot of calls. You say you listen, and it could go back and forth, back and forth. We argued about Klay a lot, and I'm thinking, boy, for a guy who led the league in three-point makes and shot 41%, it didn't do any 5-on-5 during the offseason, which I understood as a human. Like, he's gone through rehab for 2.5 years. How would you grade his season? Because the ending wasn't great. And he talked about that recently, watching back that Lakers series. How would you grade or assess his season from a year ago?
Well, it's not my job to grade that.
I know.
I can have an opinion just like you guys can.
You watch every game, courtside.
I'm a fan. I can have an opinion. I can, obviously the end was not good. I was not happy. He was not happy. Right. I mean, it was embarrassing, actually, for him, and not only him, some other players too. So it happened, and who knows why these things happen. It's very hard to repeat,
right,
is the truth. We did it in 17, those 2 years, but it's very, very hard to repeat. Things happen. But, here's the good news. Good news is there's a lot more motivation going into this year. Mm-hmm. And I think we're very capable of having a great year this year and winning this thing. Yeah. I do think that.
Yep.
Well, let's ask one more contract question before we move on to the fun stuff for this year.
Yeah, because contracts is business. And the truth is we're here to talk about basketball.
Yeah, we are.
I know, but people always talk about, lame duck coach and the guy wants to get paid. And I just know in my own situation, it's when it's in the back of your head, you want to get re-upped, you want to stay somewhere. It doesn't affect you on a minute-by-minute basis, but every now and then it seeps in. And Steve's more of a professional than I ever will be. What's going on with Steve Kerr? Are you going to have conversations throughout the year about a contract extension, or are you going to wait till the end?
No, we've had conversations. Not me and Steve. We're not going to do that. But, Mike Dunleavy and Kirk are having those conversations. And, I think, again, it's very similar to Klay. I mean, he was gone all summer. You can't get anything done when the guy's, traversing the world, coaching the Olympic or pre-Olympic team. So,
Right.
Look, we're making progress. We're going to reward him for everything he's done. He'll be well compensated at the end of the day. And again, it's just business. It's negotiation. It's strategy. People, agents, this is what it's like. And so I would not read too much into any of that. Steve is the ultimate professional.
Yes.
And by the way, Steve, my experience with Steve is he is not necessarily, we're all, motivated by money a little bit, but I don't think that's really his motivation.
Yeah.
I don't. I think he wants to do a reasonable thing.
Right.
We want to do a reasonable thing, and I wouldn't worry about it.
At times I get frustrated. Steve's a great coach, but there's times I get frustrated because I want to see the younger guys get a little more of a role. I want them to stay on the court through a couple of, maybe misplays or whatever, and I get frustrated with it. Do you expect him to give Jonathan and Moses Moody maybe a little more leeway to play through some of the mistakes this year?
I'm not the coach, so it's his job to determine rotations, who starts, which is another question you might ask.
No, I don't care.
We can't talk
I'm
about
just saying,
finishing.
all
I
that
care
stuff,
who finishes.
finishing, starting, whatever.
Right.
He's the coach, and he's a pretty damn good one.
Right.
So
Great one.
So let's let him do his job along with his staff and figure that out. And year 3 tends to be a big year for players. They make jumps.
Yeah.
And I think the first 3 preseason games have looked pretty good for particularly Jonathan and Moses. They're playing really well.
Yeah.
And, I kind of expected that, to be honest with you. I think Steve expected that. And we got to see how everybody meshes, obviously. But I'm very positive about those guys. And I think they're going to have big years.
Now, I think a lot of fans didn't want to see J.K. traded. Once Jordan Poole got traded, we're thinking, oh, no, it's J.K. next. Jonathan Kuminga, that is, because he's a special talent. Guy who could guard on the perimeter, could finish at the cup, get to the free throw line. Some of that missing element that you guys didn't have last season and finishing in the paint, I think that's going to be big and very imperative for this team moving forward. Real quick, before we get back to the basketball team, you also made some big headway talking about business, right? We're on the subject of business. WNBA is now coming back to the Bay Area, and you've already guaranteed a championship, which is pretty cool.
And I'm holding to it. Raymond's over there probably shaking his head.
No, that's cool. We love that. We can hold you to it if it doesn't happen. No, seriously, did you have a hand in the San Jose Lasers back in the day?
Yeah, I had more than a hand. I had my wallet. Hand on wallet.
So it didn't work out in the Bay Area, and I always thought this was a hotbed
Joe
for women's
Lacob
basketball.
does fail every now and then, and I did fail, I guess you could say. I was actually the largest shareholder in the league. I believe I own 30% of that whole league.
Wow, American basketball
and
league.
the San Jose Lasers, the team, the local franchise. And I loved the idea of women's basketball. I thought it was ready at the time.
Right.
I was in venture capital business. Thought I could. In the 90s, we were pretty on top of the world. Thought I could do anything.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is, we did, but the NBA got involved. Decided that it wasn't going to let women's basketball go to anyone else. And, within 3 years, we were kaput. And I lost money. We failed, I guess you could say. But it wasn't a failure, actually, long-term, because I got to know people in the NBA. And ultimately, many years later, led to getting involved with knowing David Stern and Adam and wound up buying the Warriors. So it really had an important role for me personally. And I believed in women's basketball then. I think that the league has struggled over a number of years, for sure. We lost some teams in that league, and playing in the summer was kind of hard. And the NBA, so a lot of the NBA teams who controlled some of the teams didn't like working in the summer, right? That was an addition to their job. So I think there were some issues that had to be overcome. It's taken longer than people would have liked, but women's basketball, in my opinion, has really started to ascend. Women's sports have started to ascend. Skyrocket.
Do you think that
and I think it's ready in a big way, and we're ready. So I think it's a great merger of opportunity for all of us. And we're going to do this, and we're going to do it right, and this league is going to take off, and it's going to be a big deal.
Well, you already have 3,000 deposits, right? 3,000 season tickets
3,000 people
deposits.
sign up for season tickets already. That's more than most teams in the WNBA.
And I'm floating this. Shasky knows I've been saying this out there. Not only the WNBA, I think is going to thrive here. I've been asking for years, why don't we have a WNBA team? Because I covered high school sports, and girls basketball is huge out here. Huge. It's
great
humongous.
Location for
and so
great
location. And so when you think about that WNBA team being here at Chase Center playing basketball games, what about the women's Final Four? You got all these events happening at Chase Center. Concerts. You got a boxing event coming up with Devin Haney December 9th.
Can you imagine that? Boxing in the Bay Area.
I love boxing. Yeah, he knows. I love boxing in the Bay Area.
We're ready for it.
And now, women's Final Four, because you had March Madness a couple of years ago, and I thought having the draw that you had
I think it's a great idea. I'm going to write that down.
Write it down. All-Star game, too.
Bonta says
fact.
No, I don't know still, but don't give us credit because we'll brag about it all day long.
From a marketing standpoint, though, and just a brief aside, like the fact that the women, for the majority of them, stay 4 years in college, and then now with the NIL and social media being what it is, it feels like they, similar to college football, have a baked-in audience and a market share that maybe men's college basketball doesn't necessarily have right now. I think it's a really advantageous spot from a business perspective.
I think it makes a lot of, look, from a business perspective, which is how you started this question.
Yeah.
I think this makes a lot of sense for our organization.
Yeah.
We understand basketball. We understand how to build these businesses. We have the facilities in place that we now have time tested. Right. We know how to do this at Chase. We have the Oakland facility, which is going to be one of the best practice facilities in the entire WNBA. And the sport is on the rise. Yeah. Women's soccer, women's sports are on the rise. The sponsors, from a business perspective, are all interested in being involved in something like this. And for good reason. It's a really good sport. There's a lot of more better players than there used to be. Have you been watching the women's Final Four? The Caitlin Clark. Did you see what happened in Iowa recently?
Yeah, 56,000 people at the stadium, football stadium. Yeah.
Open up your eyes. Take a look, fans. Look what's happening. It's happening. It's happening right before your eyes. Women's sports, women's basketball, about to take off a big way, and we're going to help it.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark, we're getting ready to raise a jersey out here to Bay Area.
Well, I'm ready for him to buy the San Francisco Giants right now. I mean, I was going to drop that at some point.
The A's International. Please, God, ask him to buy the A's. Buy the orange and black.
You've done this for almost 15 years now, and much longer beforehand, behind the scenes. What have you learned is more difficult, building the roster of a great team or managing the success and the egos that go along with a great team?
Honestly, those were hard things, but nothing unanticipated. To me, the hardest thing in 15 years is building that arena.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
San Francisco? Come on.
I mean,
just the red tape.
The California, San Francisco, it was just a really difficult thing to do. Hardest thing I've ever done was working with others, obviously, but working on doing that. That was a really difficult thing. And I didn't know anything about real estate development, to be honest. So I think that was the hardest single thing. The surviving the pandemic, which none of us have ever seen before, was a really hard thing to do. We've had to navigate a couple of really big things while we're dealing with what you just brought up, basketball issues, building rosters, dealing with the effects of winning, the egos and so on. Honestly, I don't think that's been all that hard. I mean, we have great people doing it. I have Steve Kerr, I had Bob Myers, I got Mike Donnelly. We can do that stuff. We can do that stuff. And so I don't view that as all that hard.
Are you frustrated with the amount of red tape that I don't want to get in trouble, but it feels like the league has put together certain parameters in the current salary cap structure, and it feels like it's very penal toward people like yourself and guys that are running teams the way you are, which is pouring money back into the product, trying to win. That the point of sports is to win. And it feels like a lot of the rules are trying to punish those who have done it the right way, drafted their own, developed their own, paid their own, brought in more talent, poured the money back in. Like, I get frustrated on your behalf.
It's the Eddie D rule.
Yeah.
In the NFL, the salary cap rule is the Eddie DeBartolo rule. And I look at this rule
drives me crazy.
with the second apron and the tax apron and all that stuff. It's the Go to State Warriors rule.
Hey, you guys can keep talking about it because I can't talk about it.
I don't want to. We don't, trust me, we don't have money help you out.
No, I'm not going to get in trouble because I'm not going to say anything bad. Right. I'm just going to say that whatever the rules are, we're all part of a league, and we signed up for these rules, okay? And we help make the rules. And so you can view it however you want to view it. Sometimes it helps us, sometimes it hurts us, depends. But the bottom line is, whatever the rules are, we're going to do our best to be good. Okay, to win and hopefully to make some money. But it's all about investment. I believe in investing in the future. I grew up in Silicon Valley in business. And what do? We don't have companies that generally have dividends until they get really, really big. Yep. They don't spit out capital return to anybody. They just build. They reinvest to build for growth. You want to grow it. And if you grow, the spoils come. Yep. And that's the way I view the Warriors, and I view the NBA, and I view sports. I view it the same way. We've never taken any money out of this thing. We've made profits. We built a great arena for the city, for us, and we invested in players in a tremendous way in the last few years. Tremendous way, record way. But the bottom line is, we're investing in the future. We're trying to create something bigger and better. It manifests itself in franchise value, at least according to those that look at those things. And look, I like the scorecards too. I don't mind seeing all that. But to be honest with you, it doesn't really affect me because I ain't selling and we're not selling and we're not taking anything out of it. We're reinvesting because we're trying to do what? Grow. We're trying to get bigger and better. Okay? And that's what this is about. Not only as a team, but as a business, as a charitable organization within the construct of the Bay Area. We want to be able to help a lot of people, and we've done that with our foundation.
$15 million, right?
$30 million.
$30 million.
When you include in kind. Wow. And growing.
Double
so
that.
We want to be number one. We are number one, I think, actually, in that.
Right.
And we want to continue to do that. That's really important to what we do as well. So it's about growing, becoming better, becoming bigger.
You talk about getting bigger and better, and Nicole's helped out the foundation. She runs it. You say $30 million, and you guys have grown Chase Center. So the growth in your 14 years, what is the most... Is it the 4 championships that you're most proud of? Is it Chase Center and Thrive City itself? Is it the Community Foundation, which helps out all sides of the Bay Area? What is the one thing that you, right now, today, you say, boy, I'm mostly proud of that?
That's a very interesting question. Look, obviously, winning the championships, because it is sports,
right,
probably has to be number one. But I am really proud of this building and what we've managed to accomplish in building that arena. It was so, I mean, no one will ever know how hard it was and how expensive it was and became. And it's just a really hard thing to do.
You had to change peers.
Yeah, so I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that we got through the pandemic and the way we did. And I'm proud of the fact that we're finally entering the WNBA and we're doing something that I think is going to be really big and great for the community. And so I'm proud of it all. Most of all, I really enjoy having partners also that I've done this with. It's not just me. It's my wife. It's my kids. It's my investor partners who almost all of them been with me for the entire 13 years. And we've enjoyed doing this together. We travel together. We have fun. We go play playoffs, in different cities. We play golf together. Like, that's a shared experience. And that's same thing with our fans. And we're all part of it. Look, I'm not an idiot. I like walking down the street and somebody saying thumbs up or, hey, great job or whatever.
Right.
Instead of, hey, you screwed up.
Right.
Or you really did something. And, I got booed once, as you remember, a lot of years ago now, 11 years ago. That was not fun. And I don't want that again.
Did you recognize it in real time?
I want to just, we want to be successful and you want to do something great for the community.
Did you recognize in real time that you were catching boos for like 30 years of anger
of course.
at just the whole situation? Because that is a seminal moment. I mean, Raymond's talking about how that's the start of the 30 for 30 or the book that there's going to be written about your guys' tenure as owners. But like, that is one of those moments. I was pissed off. You traded away Monte Ellis for Bogut. He's hurt. What's going on?
It was a Team Monte, Team Steph thing.
I mean,
it was
no,
a deal.
but like,
and then Bill Simmons came out with that article.
It wasn't about
you read there, what was it, 60 Ways to Lose a Fan Base?
I hated that article.
Yeah, no, it's fun to go back and look at now.
But like,
how wrong can one person be?
Oh, he's wrong a lot.
Hey, no,
he's wrong a lot.
Do you look back at that moment and go, look at me now? Or is that one of those things that kind of just shapes your point of view? Or how do you view that?
No, I mean, honestly, I don't really think about that, to be honest. I look, it was no fun, certainly. And I consider, look, everyone fails in life. Even all successful people have times when they failed. I told you about the ABL in the 90s. Yep. I got booed here in the first 2 years. I don't know if that was a failure, but it felt like it. So everyone wants to overcome those things. You are stronger when you go through things like that, and you become better at what you do. And I think that's a truth for all young people, by the way, when they're developing their careers. It ain't straight line up for anybody, okay? You have to go through some tough times, some travails. And so, I look back at some of these things, and the booing was, a really good thing to happen, actually, in retrospect. I'm an optimist. I look at it as, like, in retrospect, a really good thing to have happened. Because when you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up.
So true.
No doubt. No doubt about that. Joe Lacob live in studio as you are listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMG FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game for the best and most up-to-date sports coverage. And don't forget, we're live on YouTube and Twitch right now. You can wave at the camera, Joe, if you want. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. We're going to open up the phone lines at 9:15. We'll get some questions. See, Joe's not afraid of the fans. It's going to take some calls here. 888-957-9570. Ask Joe anything. You brought up your kids. And I'm intrigued with Kirk and your family here. Where do you see your two sons in the next 5-10 years, their role in this organization?
Well, they've continued to grow and take on more and more experience. Kirk's been with us for 13 years, Kent for 9, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I told them from the first day they joined us, I'm going to treat you like every other employee. And if you screw up, I'm going to be really mad. And if you do well, I'm going to be really mad. And you need to work harder than anybody else because people are going to be really critical of the fact that you're my son. It's a burden, okay? So I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the fact that they have thick skins, that they've continued to just do their job, get better and better and better at what they do, and I think they're respected around the league. And that's all I can say about it. What are they going to do? And they'll prove themselves. And, if I'm not here someday, I think they'll obviously wind up owning and running this thing. And hopefully they'll be ready.
How's the dynamic been with Mike Dunleavy? I know he's kind of been in place for a long time. Group threads all day because, you and Bob talked a lot about how texting nonstop or calling all day. How's that going? Has the relationship changed at all?
With
Mike? I mean, has it, as his role has grown, has
you should ask Mike that. I think Mike is great. I love Mike. I love the fact that he's very collaborative. That's a big thing in our organization and the way I like to do things. People think, I have a certain image or whatever, but actually I try to be incredibly collaborative with other people because it's a we thing. We do things as a group. The reason we're successful as an organization, hint, hint, it ain't me. It ain't just about me. It's about a we thing. It's about Raymond Ritter doing his job. Only one time did he not do his job real well. And
when I need this. You told me it was perfect.
I'm kidding. But
Xavier McDaniel must have been here. He must have been in the building. Wichita State, Raymond Ritter. That's why Xavier McDaniel. Xavier McDaniel is
a great PR guy, vice president of the Warriors, and has done an incredible job for a lot of years. But the point is, it's a we thing. We have such great people in our organization. I am so proud of that. That's one of the things I'm really proud of, that we've developed our organization, that we continue to develop young people into their jobs to get better and better at what they do so that we always have somebody great in a position to continue to do a great job.
Speaking of Mike Dunleavy, obviously he's replacing Bob Myers. He did great things here. And we all love Bob Myers. He joined us all the time here at 95.7 Games. Just saw him at a Niners football game. How weird has it been for you to just see Bob, not in a Warriors uniform or just a Warriors polo or whatnot, and he's on the set with ESPN and
haven't seen it yet.
You haven't?
No, I need to watch him.
He was on the broadcast last night.
It's pretty good.
I saw a highlight of him on the first one when he was asked to comment on the
Klay stuff.
Yeah. But I haven't actually seen him do it. I'm sure he's going to be really good, is my guess.
2 years, 3 years, and he's back in the league. I know you don't want to speak for him.
I think he loves basketball. He might miss it and want to be back. But I think he did need this time off, as this has proven. Yeah. No one believed that a year ago, but I think it was the truth. And look what happened. He's doing this. I think he's going to be great at it. And I do miss him. I miss talking to him all the time. But I do have a job to do, and Mike and I talk all the time, and Kirk and the rest of the group. And so we're doing it. We're really getting along great, and it's been pretty seamless.
I know we're going to get into the roster, but you fascinate the hell out of me. All these little things you say, I got a million follow-ups. You said that people view me a certain way. If you don't mind me asking, what is it that you think people view you like? What do you believe the perception to be that you think is erroneous?
Boy, that's an interesting question.
Because it sounded like it bugged you. And I don't want to be viewed a certain way.
No, it doesn't bug me. It doesn't bug me.
Because Twitter says you're cheap?
No. That's so fake.
I know it's
we don't really. I don't think I've seen that, actually.
That you're in total
I think
control? People
think that, I'm a very tough or megalomaniac or something like that. I'm not. Or too involved. I love, that's the one that bugs me. I will say that's the one that bugs me.
You're the owner.
Well, it's not just that I'm the owner or whatever you want to call it, governor or whatever. I think, honestly, that's a misnomer. I believe that a great owner of any sports team, actually any organization, needs to be very involved. That doesn't mean they're making the decisions for people. You let people, you empower them, you let them make decisions, you let them make some mistakes. But the truth is, you have to be involved and know everything that's going on. If you don't, you're not going to be successful. You're just not. It's really all about the details. It's not about the one big thing like everyone thinks. It's all about the details in every respect. And so if I'm going to own this organization, this business, and be involved, and Peter's going to be, we're going to know what's going on so that we can make good decisions when people bring to us things like, hopefully, the new name of the women's WNBA team. People are going to come up with a name. They're going to bring it to us. We're doing a process.
Right.
And we need to be involved. We need to understand all the issues there.
Well, we're going to take calls. 888-957-9570. Talk to Joe Lacob. Ask Joe Lacob anything. Maybe you have a team name in mind for the new WNBA team that will be coming to the Bay Area. 888-957-9570. We'll do that in a few minutes. Now, I'm eager, too, because Joe asked you that great question. How do you find out about some of these criticisms about yourself? Do people tell you?
On
Do they
Twitter?
send you tweets?
No.
You got no fake account.
No burners?
I didn't say that.
No burners? Is it because Twitter? Because there's a lot
You said, am I on Twitter, meaning do I tweet? And I have never tweeted.
So you're out there somewhere.
I can't believe how disciplined I am about this.
You're talking to two guys.
Now people are going to.
I have wanted to tweet
Right.
so many times.
I know you do.
But I have not. I have not because I don't think it serves me a positive.
That's smart.
Is that where you find most of the stuff, or is it just
No,
word of
I do
mouth,
read
or?
Twitter religiously, X, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I do because it's news.
Right.
And that's the way the sports business works.
True.
You have
you ever
to.
talked to Elon? Now I got to ask you.
Yes.
What's your thought? What? Because he's another one. He's out there. So is there? Give me something on Elon. I gotta.
I don't know him well enough to give you anything. I've only met him once. He was at a concert, I think, with Chris Rock and whatever was here.
Okay.
Chappelle, yeah.
Chappelle, yeah. And after there was a meet and greet, and I got to talk to him for 20 minutes. That's actually the only time I've ever spoken with him.
I just figured that you get to meet everybody, and I'm jealous of
Fan of the Tesla
interactions.
Fan of the Tesla. Or are you driving?
I'm a car guy. I like sound and fury.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you there. Joe Lacob live in studio. We're going to take some calls. Line them up. 888-957-9570 is the phone number. Ask Joe anything. Now this roster. You brought up Kuminga. I don't think we dove into it because he's become a fan favorite around here with his athleticism, his personality. He's so young. He's so raw, but we saw glimpses of him guarding guys like LeBron and guarding wings. We're like, wow, Kuminga could really do this. The Luka Doncic's of the world. What is the expectation? Because somebody asked me yesterday, do you think Jonathan Kuminga is going to be here in 3 years? And I said, why not? Why not? He's somebody you could build around here. Your thoughts on Jonathan Kuminga and the prospects of that year 3 leap?
I mean, I think he is. I think it's looking really good.
Right.
The evidence so far. We're going to find out a little more as the year goes on. But I think he's incredibly talented. I think everyone feels that way. And it's a process. He just turned 21. Think about that for a second.
That's crazy.
He just turned 21. It used to be you didn't get out of college till you were 21 or 22.
Right.
So I think this is the time when you're going to see him really take off. And I think he understands, after being around here a couple of years, what he needs to do to contribute and be successful on this team with these players and this coach and this organization. So I think he's doing a great job. I expect him to have a big year and probably be here a long time.
When you look at the roster right now, they got a lot of small guys. There's not a lot of height. You got to go up against Jokic. You got to, at some point, hopefully you face Embiid in the finals or something like that. You got to get through Anthony Davis, at least hypothetically. Do you like the size of the team right now? Because you got Kevon. I guess Kuminga could be utilized as a big. Draymond.
Dario
Saric, who I love Saric.
Everyone says we're small. We're actually, I think we should look at this, but I think we're bigger than we were last year. We got to be a little bit bigger.
Right. Yeah,
well, Saric is 6'10", and Trace is 6'10",
yeah.
and he's athletic, by the way. So, I mean, I think we're bigger than we were last year. Are we one of the bigger NBA teams? Probably not. But when you look at size of an NBA team, I do think you need to look at the whole court.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Klay has always, one of the things Klay has always been is a big guard. There aren't many guards the size of Klay, right? Andrew Wiggins is a prototypical size 3. So I don't think we're really all that small. Draymond is the one position you say he's clearly undersized for the position he plays. And Looney is, I don't know if he's undersized. He's actually 7'4" wingspan. Wingspan's more important than height.
I love Looney.
Because you got to look at the necks on these guys sometimes. So and he's, guy gets 20 rebounds a game in playoff games. So I don't think you can sit here and say he's too small.
You brought up Andrew Wiggins. How important is it for Andrew Wiggins to be that same Andrew Wiggins from a couple of years ago during that final run? Because I could make an argument he was the second most important Warrior for that entire playoff run. He was spectacular on both ends.
X factor.
Yeah, they need him this year big time.
Well, we do. And when he plays with, as Steve has said, with force, it's a whole another player. He changes our whole team. So I think he's ready, prime for a good year. I think he knows one of the reasons we didn't do so well last year is he missed half the season, for whatever reasons, an injury and some other things. And I think, hopefully he's going to be here all year, and that alone makes us a much better team.
And GP2's back, Young Love, and Gary Payton II. That media day was yelling, we're 11 deep, and he looks to be healthy as well. He was a key part of that championship team with the way he defended as a small guard and playing that dunker role on offense here. But we're going to take some lines, take some phone calls. 888-957-9570. Ask Joe Anything. I want to get your thoughts on the in-season tournament before we leave as well.
And load management. This thing that came out about load management. Why?
And don't get fined. Don't say anything to get fined. And then we'll ask the question. We'll take a hit. Don't ask us for any money, though. We work at this place. We don't.
I'll say it on your behalf.
You see how we dress. You see our boss man, how he's dressed? He's not dressing to impress. Also, in-season tournament. And then Kevin Durant's coming back to town next Tuesday in front of the fan base. So I want to get your thoughts on that as well. But let's go to Horace down to Texas.
What's up, Horace?
Horace down to Texas. Ask Joe Anything here on the Morning Roast. What's up, Horace? Good morning.
Oh, good morning, guys. Hey, appreciate your show, man. And Joe, man, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you just putting yourself out there like that. I never got an opportunity to talk to an owner, man. And I just appreciate you opening yourself up like that for questions and everything. So I just got a question for you, sir. The one thing that I did not like last year is watching us get beat up by the Lakers in the front court. And we were small. And there's one thing I've been crying about to these guys, especially for the last year and a half. Why is Boogie Cousins not in the league? I think there's unfinished business with the Warriors for Boogie Cousins, man. Talk to me about that, brother. Please talk to me.
This is the text line, Joe. Every day. Every day.
We love you,
Cousins
Horace.
is available.
Horace, look, I can't comment on Boogie, really. He hasn't been picked up by any team, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Perhaps he was with us. We had a run. Sometimes it's hard to go back, right?
Yeah.
And I would say that, you're right about us getting beat up by the Lakers. They are one of the biggest teams in the NBA, no question.
Absolutely.
They definitely beat us last year.
Yep.
But I would argue to you that it wasn't so much getting beat up by size. If you really look at it, it's that, a few of our players who normally would perform much better just didn't. And they know that. Mm-hmm. We know that. And our team just overall didn't perform. If we play our style of ball, they have to play against us too, right. Remember. So, yeah, we have to play against their size, but they have to play against everything we do well. And historically, we've done pretty well with that.
Yeah, your style obviously starts with Stephen Curry and the style that he plays. We'll take some calls in a second here, but what else could you say about Steph Curry? I mean, what he's done for the organization in the entire Bay Area.
I can't even put into words how important he is, how impressive he is, how much I admire him, respect him. He is a phenomenal human being. He's a great friend as well. I try not to say that kind of stuff or do that because you never know who is a player on your team. Monte Ellis, look back, we were friends with him, and things happen. But Steph Curry is an amazing individual. He's been a great leader of this team, albeit a quiet leader perhaps, but he leads how he leads. And he's been an incredible player. I expect him to have a fantastic year this year. I love the way he and Chris Paul have bonded. And he's, I want him to be with us, the organization, obviously, for a very, very long time, even beyond his playing years.
Well, what's the thing that he brings to the table that most people would never understand?
Well, I think most people would understand it. You just have to look and see how hard he works, his commitment, and the fact that he's so supportive of everything. Yeah. Does he have issues that he'll bring up? He'll bring to management quietly sometimes, and we try to act on those. Certainly true. He's no shrinking violet. But Steph is just as an employee, as a player, as a human being, he's great. Well, he is really great.
Here's the number one question. How many strokes is he giving you per side?
Well, he's a lot better player, obviously.
Yeah. You see that eagle putt in Tahoe?
Unbelievable. And I'm I'm not as good as I was at one point, but I'm still nowhere close to him. I'm an 8 index or something, and he's scratch. So
yeah, nothing to slouch out. I seen you out at Pebble. I seen you out.
Let's go back out to the
play a little bit.
I saw you.
You're gonna ask him to caddy.
Well, he hit the par at the 17th hole. You came up. You hit a nice ball right onto the green a couple years ago. I was with the whole family. My dad was like, "Not bad, not bad. Let's see if he can make a putt here."
Yeah, the problem is, as you know, when you're an amateur,
exactly,
you don't realize the difference between how good the pros are and how good the amateurs are.
They make it look so easy.
Let's go to Wyatt in Hawaii. Wyatt in Hawaii has a question.
Wow, we're international today. Let's go.
Yeah, or nationwide. It's still part of the United States. Wyatt, what's going on? Good morning. Wyatt?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, Wyatt?
Hey, Joe, nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
Hardcore. Warriors fan and all that stuff. I'm kind of nervous talking to you right now. I just want to know about like the Dwight Howard situation, like what had happened in that. Like I heard rumors about him coming to the Warriors and all that stuff. I just want to know like what had happened. I know he was supposed to be interviewed too, so well by members of staff. So I just want to know like about that situation.
I mean, there's nothing to comment on. I'm personally a big fan of the guy you mentioned, who I guess I can mention because he's not in the league right now, Dwight Howard. Big fan, loved his history. At one point, certainly could have been a big contributor, maybe in some way to our roster. But I think the coaches and the basketball operations people, made a decision that this wasn't going to be the right fit right now, and it's as simple as that.
Let's talk about the actual, Chris Paul acquisition, what it looks like on the floor. How much, and he's a pick and roll guy to death, and I know Kerr does all of the actual in-game strategies. What does it look like for you when Chris Paul's on the floor alongside Steph Curry? How are you're closing your eyes? What's it looking like?
Well, I think we need to see it. We haven't really seen it yet. It's only been preseason, but I will say when they're on the floor together, you've got two of the greatest point guards in the history of the game. Incredible recognition of what's going on in the court. A lot of people are going to get very good shots.
Yeah.
So I think that's great, but I also think when he's on the court, because really it's a mix and match with the roster. The roster, it's not even a question of starter versus bench. It's whenever they're on different combinations.
Staggering.
I think he's going to make other players so much better. He historically has been doing that every single year of his career. So I don't think it's too much of a stretch to think that isn't going to happen this year.
And I think he got that impact like Sean Livingston with that second unit when he does play with those guys, getting them in the right sets or whatnot. Sean Livingston did such a great job, but that feels like that's been missing for this team, getting those guys in the right sets. He'll know where, hey, Jonathan Kuminga, get down there on the block, or Dario Saric, get out there on the three-point line. That'd be a lot of fun. But he's going to be opposing his former team, the Phoenix Suns. And Kevin Durant's coming back in front of fans for the first time at Chase Center. When he did come back that first year, obviously it was during the pandemic. No fans were allowed. I believe the ovation is going to be special for him because you can't forget what he did for the 3 years.
I want to say this to all of our fans. It needs to be, it should be, and it will be a tremendous ovation for a guy that helped us win 2 world championships and should have been 3, right?
Totally.
If it wasn't for injury. So this guy, I have nothing but the highest regard for him. He was a fantastic person to be on our team at the time. For various reasons, he decided for him it was not, he had to leave, whatever. I can't comment on that. I don't know if I understand that. I wish he would have stayed. But the bottom line is I have nothing but the greatest respect. All of us should feel that way. And he should get a massive ovation.
Massive. And how has that helped the appeal to Golden State Warriors? Landing a free agent like that. We think about Tom Brady, LeBron, Kevin Durant. Those are some of the biggest free agent signings in the history of North American sports. How's that help the appeal of the Golden State Warriors when it comes to signing players or guys who may be able to get money elsewhere, but they come here because they're saying, you know what, we can compete for a ring?
It was a big deal when he came here, and let's not forget that. It changed us. It raised us up a level in the basketball world, if you will. And he was a big part of that history.
Yeah. No doubt, no doubt. Let's take 2 more calls here before we wrap up with Joe Lacob live in studio. Jaime in San Carlos. Jaime, what's happening, man? You're on the roast.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Jaime?
What's up?
Hey, Joe. You are probably one of the greatest owners that I've seen in sports, and I've gone through the Niners in the 80s when they were owned by Mr. Eddie D. And I just got to.
Uh-oh. The line's cutting out, Jaime. Oh, you got off to a great start. Go to Prince in Oakland real quick, then we'll take one more after Prince. Prince in Oakland, what's happening?
Man, what's going on with y'all, man? Thank y'all for taking my call, man.
Anytime.
Really what I wanted to say, Joe, because I'm a real fan of all Bay Area sports, and you really, like, as an owner, you really represent us well. Like, you fierce, you humble, like, you keep the competitive spirit, you let other people, make decisions in your organization. But what I really wanted to ask, because I heard Bonta say this before, because I really do care about the Giants. I really do. I care about the Warriors. I care about the 49ers. I wanted to know, as an owner, do you guys have a group chat? And are you talking to these guys? Do you care about if they win? Does it affect you? Do you have pointers for these guys? Do you give these guys advice?
You talking about the Giants?
As a fan, I just wanted to know,
Any of them.
Does that affect you?
they run their own businesses, to be honest with you. It wouldn't be right of me to tell them what to do. We have our own business to run. I'm friends with, in the case of the Giants, Greg Johnson. I'm friends with the 49ers owners. And, a lot of the players, as you see, come to our games. We're pretty close to that organization. And I want to see them do well. 49ers are doing great, actually. The Giants will again, I think. So you've got a great fan base here, great ballpark. They're in a down period. Sports teams go through down periods sometimes. And great fans, you need to stick with your team, is the truth of the matter. And you can criticize. You can have your opinion. I do too. Yeah. And if I weren't on air, I'd probably have some criticism here, but I'm not going to do that. So, but I think they will be back. They're a great organization, one of the top 5 baseball teams in the country.
Before you get out of here, you talked about AT&T Park. It's got beautiful statues all over, right? All over the property, the Willie Mays statue. And B loves when I bring this up. Like, if there ever was a guy who should get a statue while he's playing, I feel like it's Steph Curry. Now, I don't know if you guys are going to do that, but...
yes. You said a statue for Steph Curry?
Well, no, I'm saying while he's playing. While he's playing. And it feels a little, I know, gratuitous, but is there, how are we going to unveil this? Because that property is so beautiful. When I go there on game day, I was telling B, you take an Uber, me and my wife, we get dropped off right in front, we get some food, we boom, 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 we go into the game. It really is amazing. And I would love to see the Warriors' history decorated throughout, and I'm sure you have plans. What's going on? Is anything fun happening this year at Chase Center, like an unveiling of a statue?
I don't think there's an unveiling of a statue, but we have a lot of new restaurants opening up this year. One called K Fico.
Oh, yeah,
very popular.
We know David very well.
Great guy. And I know that's during the course of the year, and I think also during the course of the year, there's at least one other major
You got
restaurant.
a wine bar, Glue. You got the bake shop, Cupcaking. You got a lot of things happening. You got
I think we got that going on. We're trying to, coming out of the pandemic, obviously it's been tough, but that's all starting to happen. We're very proud of that facility. Thank you for saying that. I honestly get chills every time I walk into it, and I'm not kidding you.
Across the street too from Chase Center, that's now being built. You can walk
park,
around there.
I'm told is going to actually be done by early November.
Yep. 5.5 acres.
I'm told. So I offered to put the grass in. It's taken a while.
Real grass or turf?
I think it's real grass. I'm not in charge of it, so. But look, it's coming together. These things take a little time. Very proud of this place. Should be. Will there be? We have a lot of great sports art throughout the arena. I don't know if you've noticed when you go through it, Shasky, and it's we're very proud of that actually. If you look around, and so I think we can continue to improve on that with some statues in the future.
Got an emergency alert. That means you got to get out of here, Joe. Don't forget, open practice tomorrow at Chase Center, 5:30. Tickets are $5. $5, Warriors.com. There's still tickets available. You guys have already sold over 10,000 tickets for an open practice tomorrow. Tonight, we're giving out the bobblehead, a Steph Curry graduation bobblehead when the Warriors host the Sacramento Kings, and it felt good beating the Kings in the first round. We get a lot of Kings fans who call this show. They talk a lot of junk.
Yeah, they want to play 4-on-5.
Yeah, it was really fun to beat them in that series.
Let's leave the Kings for a little later.
Yeah, leave them for a little later.
Work to do.
And then I was going to ask you, but we ran out of time. How many times do you turn off the radio when Joe and I just open our mouths and say something about the Warriors? Probably like, do you see this off the air? I got to wake up to these guys?
Well, he's doing a great job on TV, isn't he?
I mean, it's C+.
He's great. I enjoy his energy. I enjoy his energy.
I know.
Yeah, C+ performance. Mully carries me.
I'm jealous because his relationship with Mully has grown, and that's the guy we idolized growing up. And I'm like, he's FaceTiming Mully, and he forgot about me.
I'll get you on a 3-way call next time.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Hey, Joe, always a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you guys for having me in, and we'll do this anytime you want to do it.
Absolutely. We're excited about the Warriors. The season starts on Tuesday against the Phoenix Suns.
I want to say one thing about that. Last thing, real quick. That is going to be an epic night, okay? Think about this, guys. Kevin Durant, first time playing against his former team in our building. They're a great team. This is going to be one heck of a season opener. Heck yeah. Everybody, come on out. Watch it on TV. Let's go.
Joe Lacob, everybody. Joe Lacob. We got a break here on the Morning Roast, and it's brought to you by Fremont Bank, full service banking, no compromises.
BMO has officially arrived. Our correspondent